Good morning. Today we are going to start the next lesson, sense organ. Lesson number 11, sense organs. And these sense organs are the receptors of the signals. Okay. These receptors are classified into different categories. Photoreceptors, which receives the light. Phonoreceptors, which receives the sound. Chemoreceptors, due to the chemical reactions. Touch will come under chemoreceptor. Dermoreceptor, which receives the temperature, heat, cold. Mechanoreceptor, pressure. Here also the skin will act as an important role in mechanoreceptor. So photoreceptor, eyes receive the light. They are sensitive to light. Okay. So they are called as photoreceptor. Phonoreceptor, the organ which receives the sound. Ear, phonoreceptor. Chemoreceptor, tongue. If we eat the food, the taste buds help us to get the taste of the food. That is the chemical reaction that takes place in the saliva, in the buccal cavity, that is in the mouth. Okay, so tongue, chemoreceptor. Dermo and mechanoreceptor, skin, acts as the receptor for receiving the temperature, cold or hot, and there's the mechanoreceptor, pressure. Okay, so all these are the different organs which serves as receptors of different stimuli. Okay. Now first in this lesson we are going to see photoreceptor and phonoreceptor in elaborate way. Photoreceptor is nothing but eye. Eyes are receiving the light. They are sensitive to light. If you take your eyes, we have the eyebrow which protects the entry of dust, water, rainwater, and if you sweat, that sweat should not go inside the eye. It will prevent. Then it has two eyelids, upper eyelid and lower eyelids. These eyelids are movable. These eyelids also protect the eye. These eyelids are provided with eyelash. These are eyelashes. Okay, they protect the eye from the dust. When if you take any sharp thing near the eye, immediately the eyelids will close. Okay, so the dust also will be filtered by these eyelashes. Then, in addition to this, the eyeball is kept in the socket. Here, this is the skull bone, the facial bone and the skull bone, cranial bone together form the skull, and these are the eye orbit. Okay, in the orbit, inside this orbit only, bony orbit, the eye balls are kept. So they are protected by this orbit bones. Okay. Then, in addition to that, near the corner of the upper eyelid, we have lacrimal gland. It is also called tear gland. This lacrimal gland secretes tear. This tear is taken to the eyeball by different ducts. Here duct. And these ducts, after the eyeball the eyelids close and open. Due to this movement, the tear is spread in the eyeball. It keeps the eyeball moist and protects the entry of, if any dust fall in the eye, immediately it will come to this corner. It is taken by the tear. Okay. Then this tear is also stored in the nasolacrimal duct. There is a nasolacrimal duct which connects the eye and the nose. If you put any eye drops, we can feel sometimes that it will come in our mouth. Okay. Through the nose, it will come to the all this ENT. If you have any problem in eyes, nose and mouth, you will go to the ENT specialist. Okay, because all these are interconnected. So this one is the nasolacrimal duct. This tear is whatever we are having extra tear, and if we apply any medicine here, the eye, it will come through this nasolacrimal duct to the mouth. Okay, so these are the external structures. Okay, eyebrows, what is their function? What are lacrimal glands? What is their function? And eyelid, what is the function? Eyelashes, what is the function? What are nasolacrimal duct? Okay, next we are going to see the structure of the eyeball. Okay. We have seen the external structure of the eye. Now we are going to see the internal structure. Internal structure we are going to discuss under these side layers, chambers, visual pigments, spots. Layers. The eyeball is made up of 3 layers. The outermost layer is called sclerotic coat. It is tough and fibrous. It protects the inner part. The sclerotic coat, as it comes to the anterior part of the eye, front part of the eye, it bulges and forms a transparent membrane called cornea. And this cornea is covered by another transparent membrane which extends from the eyelid. That is called conjunctiva. So conjunctiva and cornea are transparent over here in the front part of the eyeball. The next comes the choroid. Choroid coat is a middle layer. It is made up of melanin pigment. It nourishes the eyeball. It is provided with blood capillaries. It nourishes the eyeball. This choroid coat, as it comes to the front portion, it forms the iris. This iris leaves an opening called pupil through which the light enters. This iris, by expanding and contracting, it allows the amount of light that enters inside the lens. Then, in between the lens and the cornea, there is a chamber called aqueous chamber. It is filled with a liquid, aqueous humor. Aqueous humor. The function of the aqueous humor, it keeps the lens moist and it helps in refraction of light. Next comes the innermost layer. Innermost layer is the retina. Retina acts as a screen. Retina is made up of 2 types of cells, rod cells and cone cells. Rod cells are made up of pigment, visual pigment, rhodopsin, and cone cells are made up of visual pigment, iodopsin. Rod cells are responsible for dim light, sight in dim light. Then cone cells are sensitive to bright light and color vision. Okay. Then these spots, the cone cells are concentrated in the retina in a particular point. The point which is centered to the lens of the retina. That is called yellow spot. Since the cone cells are concentrated here, this is the spot for right vision, best vision. Okay, this is a spot of best vision. At the same time, from the retina emerges the optic nerve, which takes the message to the brain. The point at which the optic nerve emerges from the retina is called blind spot. Blind spot is a spot of no vision. Why no vision? Because here in the blind spot, rods and cones are absent. Okay, so there won't be any image. No image is formed here in the blind spot. That's why it's called as blind spot. And the retina, again, it encloses a chamber called vitreous chamber. The vitreous chamber is filled with a liquid called vitreous humor. The vitreous humor maintains the shape of the eyeball. Okay. Then the lens is transparent and while convex. It is held by the suspensory ligaments. The contraction and expansion of the lens is done by the suspensory ligaments. Ligaments and tendons. We are studying the skeletal system. Okay, so these suspensory ligaments hold the lens. This one is the internal structure of the eye. Now we are going to see how we can see the lens. Now we are going to see how we are able to see the objects, different objects. The light rays fall on the object and the light rays enter through first conjunctiva, then cornea. This cornea somehow adjusts the light rays, refract the light rays, and it enters into the lens. Before entering, the amount of light that should be entered in the lens is adjusted by the iris. Then lens refract this image, and that image is formed on the retina. The image is formed on the retina. Retina acts as a screen. But what sort of image is formed? Inverted image. Okay? And this, due to this light energy, the light energy convert this rod cells and cone cells as chemical energy, converted into chemical energy. Due to this conversion of chemical energy, the nerve impulses are produced. These nerve impulses are taken by the optic nerve to the brain. So entry of light through the conjunctiva, cornea, lens, and focusing of the image on the retina. Inverted. Transmission of images, transmission of impulses from retina to brain. So this light energy is converted into chemical energy. Due to this conversion of chemical energy, the impulses are produced, the nerve impulses are produced. These nerve impulses takes the image, message to the optic nerve. From the optic nerve, transmission from retina to brain is taken by done by the optic nerve. This optic nerve takes the inverted image, but in the optic region of the brain, cerebrum. There, the interpretation by brain, however the objects are obtained, however the objects are sent, they will make it upright and see, able to see. Okay, that is called interpretation by brain. Okay, and here we are going to see, this one is the distance object, here near object. Near distance object, when we see the distance object, our lens will become flat. Okay, and if we see the near object, our lens will become bulge. Okay, it is become more round. If it is a distance object, flat, and near object like this. Okay, so distance object as well as near object, our eye is capable of adjusting the object distance as well as near object. This is called accommodation. Okay, so this is how the image, whatever images, see at the time we are seeing, if I see like this, I can see all so many things. So light rays fall on each object and enter it through the cornea, conjunctiva, lens, and the images fall on the retina. Then from the retina, the optic nerve takes the image to the brain. So fast. Okay. So this is how we are able to see. We are able to see the objects. Okay. Next we are going to see what are the effects we are having in the eye, and what are the eye defects and how to solve it. Okay. Now we are going to see the defects of the eye. Myopia. This is the condition in which the person can see only nearby object. Short-sightedness. Okay, short sight. Nearby object only the person can see. Distance object he cannot see. This is caused due to two reasons. One is the eyeball is lengthened from back to front and the lens is too curved. These are the two causes for this myopia. This can be corrected. Because of this, the image is formed. The image is supposed to fall on the retina. But before retina, the rays converge. So the image is not formed on the retina. The person cannot see. Okay. So this can be corrected by concave lens. Concave lens. The next one is hyperopia. Hyperopia, the person, those who are suffering with this hyperopia, they can see the distance object, near the object they cannot see. So long sightedness. Okay, long sight. And this is due to the shortening of the eyeball, shrinking of the eyeball, and the lens become too flat. Okay, so because of this, what happens? The light rays fall on the image. It converges beyond the retina. It's supposed to fall on the retina, but beyond the retina only it converges. So the person cannot see those things. So this can be corrected by using convex lens. Okay. Next one, astigmatism. Astigmatism is one particular object itself. Some area they can see clearly, some area they cannot see clearly. This is because the uneven thickness of the cornea. Okay. So that is called astigmatism. Next, presbyopia. Presbyopia, due to age, when people become old, the lens loses its flexibility. Okay, because of that, they cannot see the nearby object. Again, it can be corrected by using convex lens. Convex lens. Next one, cataract. The lens become opaque. The lens should be transparent, then only the light rays can pass through the lens and the image fall on the retina. The lens become opaque. The light rays cannot pass through the lens, so they become blind. So for this, that condition is called cataract. Here, they remove the lens and they provide the spectacles with a thick lens, and sometimes IOL, so interocular lens, they will keep and fix the eyeball. Okay, so that is the solution for this cataract. Next one, color blindness. Color blindness, we also don't know whether we are having color blindness or not, because white light, all the rays, light rays, white, and all the colors we are seeing the objects. Now some people cannot identify red and green color. Okay, in your textbook it's given, one page, one picture is given. If you identify the numbers in the picture, you are not having color blindness. Okay, and this color blindness is hereditary defect. It is seen only in male mostly, because it is X-linked inheritance. Already in the first lesson we have seen. Okay, so that is called color blindness. Next comes the night blindness. Night blindness is not actually, it is not only during the daytime they can see, during the night they cannot see. It is not like that, because those days solar energy, solar light is sunlight is the only source of light. So when the sun sets, they cannot see. The people, those who are having this night blindness defect, they cannot see the things. So they call it as night blindness. But actually, the person, those who are suffering with this night blindness problem, if they are taken during the daytime in the dark room, they cannot see things, because they are having only the cone cells. Rod cells are less. Rod cells which are responsible for the dim light or less. The production of rod cells and cone cells is induced by vitamin A. So vitamin A deficiency leads to this night blindness. Okay, if they consume enough vitamin A, they can come out of these problems. Okay, the next one is corneal opacity. The cornea will become opaque. The light ray should pass through the cornea, conjunctiva, then aqueous lens. Okay, so this cornea became opaque. The light rays cannot pass through the conjunctiva and aqueous lens. So the people will become blind. So for this, cornea transplantation from the donor eye, they transplant the cornea. The next comes the squint, cross eyes. Either both the eyes converge, okay, cross eyes, and both the eyes diverge, wide eye, right side. Okay, so both the either this way or that way. If they have the problem, that is called squint. So all these are the common defects seen in the eye. Okay, so with this we are finishing the sense organ photoreceptor. Next we are going to see phonoreceptor.
Next, we are going to see phonoreceptor ear. The structure of ear. The ear consists of three parts. It can be divided into three regions: outer ear, middle ear, and inner ear. Outer ear consists of pinna, this one, and auditory canal. The pinna leads to the auditory canal. The inner lining of the auditory canal has minute hairs, and it also secretes waxy coating which prevents the entry of dust and insects. Okay. Then eardrum. This one is the eardrum, tympanum. Okay, it is also called as tympanum. All these parts, pinna, auditory canal, and tympanum, comes under outer ear. Then middle ear. Ear ossicle, eustachian tube. Ear ossicle. There are three small bones. These are called ear ossicle. Malleus, incus, stapes. Malleus is attached with the tympanum. Okay. Then stapes is attached with the semicircular canal through the vestibule. So these three bones together called ear ossicles. Malleus, incus, stapes. The next, eustachian tube. There is a connection between the eardrum and the throat. The canal is connecting eardrum and the throat, middle ear and the throat. That connection is called eustachian tube. And the main function of this one is maintaining the air pressure on either side of the eardrum. Air pressure on either side of the eardrum. So all these parts together forms the middle ear. Inner ear, cochlea, semicircular canal, vestibule. Cochlea is a snail-shaped structure. It is made up of 2.5 rounds. And if you take the section of the cochlea, it has 3 chambers. So vestibular canal, it is made up of 3 canals: vestibular canal, median canal, tympanal canal. The vestibular canal and tympanal canal are filled with the fluid called perilymph. The median canal filled with endolymph. Okay. So here it is made up of organ of Corti. Cochlea is made up of organ of Corti. This organ of Corti has minute hair-like structure with a calcium crystal over that. It is called otolith. Okay. So this forms the organ of Corti. So next one is, that is about the cochlea. Semicircular canal. There are 3 semicircular canals arranged, each one right angle to the next one. Okay. At the base of the semicircular canal, each canal, it is swollen, it is called ampulla. The semicircular canal is responsible for dynamic balance if the body is in the movement. Then, the semicircular canal is connected with the vestibule. The same connecting the semicircular canal and the cochlea, vestibule. Vestibule consists of 2 parts, uticulus and subculus. This uticulus and subculus together forms the vestibule. It is responsible for static balance. Okay. So, from the cochlea and the uticulus subculus together, from cochlea, the optic nerve is formed. This is the, auditory nerve is formed. Auditory nerve arises from this. So, outer ear, pinna, auditory canal, eardrum. Middle ear, ear ossicle, eustachian canal. Inner ear, cochlea, semicircular canal, and vestibule. Okay, and this is the cross section of the cochlea. Cochlea is made up of organ of Corti. Organ of Corti consists of the minute hairs with a crystal, calcium crystals at the top. It is called otolith. Okay. Now we have seen the structure of the ear. We are going to see how we can hear the sound. The sound waves travel in air, and this pinna collects the sound waves. Okay, and it is entering the auditory canal. When it enters the auditory canal, it strikes for the eardrum. The eardrum got vibrated. These vibrations is transferred to the ear ossicle. From the ear ossicle to the semicircular canal. From the semicircular canal to the cochlea. And cochlea consists of organ of continuum. This vibrations makes this hair to fall one over the other and transmit the impulse to the auditory nerve. This auditory nerve takes the message to the brain. Okay, so this is how we are, before we finish like this, we can hear the sound. Okay, so that much fast it is. Everything, we are having each and every part, wonderful way we are created by God. Okay, so we are seeing here the structure of the ear and functioning, how it functions, how we can hear. In this lesson, sense organs, two sense organs we are seeing, eye and ear. Structure we are seeing, eye, the defects of the eye, structure of the eye, functioning of the eye, defects of the eye we are seeing. And ear, structure of the ear, human ear, and functioning of the, how it functions. With this, we are finishing our 11th lesson, sense organ. Okay, then we will meet in the next lesson. Bye.